Hi, this is Dan here. I hope you're doing well. In this lesson, I'm going to give you 11 practice principles that are really going to help you. Decide what kind of musician you want to be. How many times have you watched YouTube or Instagram and seen an amazing jaw-dropping technical performance, usually by someone really young? It makes you just want to give up. Now, I'm not knocking that kind of playing. It's fantastic, but good, solid bass playing with excellent tone, timing and decent technique, that will never ever go out of fashion. Do you want to be a soul player? Do you want to be a reggae player? Do you want to be able to play all different types of music, play in bands or do solo stuff? Making that decision early on is really going to help you, because that's going to inform what you practice, how you play, and also you can just enjoy all that incredible flashy stuff without getting too despondent, because you may probably, actually 90% of us will never ever need any of that technique. Just play in time, play in tune with good taste, and people will love your bass playing. Be self-aware and honest. What are your weaknesses? I find that it helps to split up music into different areas, and this is how I teach really. And once you get a handle on this, you'll get the bigger picture a little more easily. What are the things you need to learn to become a good bass player? Well, you'll learn that over time, just thinking about music in different areas. And make sure you work on the areas of music that you're not so good at. Become the kind of person who turns them into strengths. Well, this leads to frustration a lot of the time, is to constantly be tackling things that you're not good at. But that actually is the way to improve. So don't always play things that you can play. You know, once you know how to play something, pat yourself on the back, move on to something that's a little bit harder. Deliberately focus on something you find difficult. It should be a struggle. If not, you are in your comfort zone and not getting better. So, you know, something like if I'm learning a slap line, you know, something like that. I've got a thumb, I've got a sort of hammer on here, little pat here, ghost note. Now I've got a pop. Now I have to really slow that down and put the microscope on this, okay? I'm also using my index finger to mute the E string. So you've got to be aware of all these things. Recording yourself helps as well, actually, because you can really hear anything that in the moment that you can't, like, you know, strings ringing out, for example. Now something like that. I can only increase speed on that when I have it down at a really, really slow speed. And I might do that. I'm really deliberately focusing on this. I'm not being distracted. I'm not playing this for a minute and then moving on to something else. I'm just zeroing in on this. And I'm just really focusing on the muscle, you know, memory, everything I need to do to get that right. And you can do this for any technique. This kind of principle works. The more you keep working on something that's difficult, that thing that was difficult becomes now familiar. You know, that nothing is difficult, just unfamiliar. Think of it like that. And the more you can approach bass playing like that, then you can just knock down all these barriers that you thought was difficult. And that's where your improvement will come. Create an inspiring playing area and remove all barriers to picking up your instrument. You really don't even need anything fancy. Sometimes my favorite practice moments are just picking up my acoustic bass guitar, and I love that because I don't have to switch anything on. Studio behind me, I've got a little app on my phone. I just press a button and everything comes on. I just need to press on the computer, flick the Apollo 8 here on, and then I'm ready to go. But even that, you know, takes a little bit of time. So I've got this new Kala U bass, which I'll show you in a few videos time. It's got the round wound strings. So I can just pick that up and I can just be playing just straight away. And it constantly amazes me how easy it is to play versus a situation where maybe I usually use the Kala in another room. Maybe that's in a different room and I go to a seat and there's no bass there and I might just be a bit lazy. So what you need to do is you just need to create a little practice zone. You could have an acoustic bass guitar. You can have a bass with an amp. You can even practice, you know, you can practice acoustically. I think I prefer playing when I can hear myself. You probably do as well. So maybe get a little practice amp or like a pedal or some sort of, you know, something where you can put headphones in and maybe like a, you know, feed some music in so you can play along as well. But just create something simple that you enjoy going to. It doesn't even need to be a complete music room like I have here. Just could be an armchair with your headphones and a little machine, cable, bass, and you're ready to go. Repeat correct movements. You know, talking about that slap thing earlier. I used to see a lot of students kind of just trying to bash their way through something that was technically too difficult in that moment. They didn't want to be patient and just slow down. Slowing down really is the key to it. And I get it. We want to play fast, like those people we see on Instagram and YouTube. We want to play fast, and we want to play fast as soon as we can. But really, you've got to be patient in this game. So slow things down. Make sure, you've got lots of free videos on YouTube. I've got loads of technique videos. Watch them. Watch the proper way you're supposed to be doing something. Adapt it to your way of doing things if you need to. And just, like that slap thing. If I added in a index and then a middle pop. Okay, I'd slow it down. Repetition really is key to playing, especially if you're wanting to learn something technical that you can't really do quite now. Arpeggios. Hammer-ons. Sweeping, that's difficult for me. So I would slow that down, and I would absolutely make sure I'm doing the correct movements at the slow tempo and then build up. But it's absolutely crucial to make sure that it is correct at a slow tempo. Schedule your practice and be consistent. 10 minutes a day is better than 1 hour once a week. And that relates to muscle memory and all the neural connections that need to happen in your brain to get a little bit better. Consistency is key for those processes to take place. So I really would just get a diary, or on your phone. I use Google Calendar, or if you've got a physical calendar, what have you. Just schedule in the 10 minutes a day or half an hour every 2 days, or whatever it is that you have available to you, and just be disciplined with it. Building a practice routine could be the most important thing you'll ever learn. Be persistent and develop grit and determination. You will hit roadblocks, but over time you improve. I was extremely keen to get my technique as far as I could right at the beginning when I was learning to play bass. And I think most people want, they want to play the tune, they want to slap or what have you. But I think focusing on practice is the most important area, because if you get that area of your musical life absolutely watertight and locked in, then you can play anything you want, because you can just learn at something new, and your sort of practice system will see you through. The best players that I know on any instrument are the ones that have sort of they got that down. They got the practice discipline. They got it into their lifestyle. And we all have different lives. We'll have different availabilities, jobs, what have you. Just find what you can do, and it doesn't have to be multiple hours a day. It can be just 10, 15 minutes a day. If you've got that, do that. Borrow some time from, watching Netflix or whatever, and be committed to it, and you'll reap the rewards. Track your progress and get honest feedback from a teacher, bandmates, friends, or by recording yourself. Now, if you don't have a band, you don't have a teacher, then recording yourself I think is a good way to go, because you'll really hear, outside of being in the moment, what's going. Are you rushing? Are you dragging? Can you hear, muting issues? If I was doing that, maybe your hand comes off. You can't really notice that in the moment, but you'll hear it when you record yourself. That's why I really like being in a band. If you're in a band and no one says anything about your playing, that tends to be a really good sign, because the great bass players are kind of like an armchair for everyone else to get comfortable in, with the drummer. They're the rhythm section. So if you do your job really well, basically you'll go unnoticed, and that's kind of a good thing. That in itself is feedback that you're doing the right thing. Maybe someone will gently tell you, you're dragging or rushing a bit, and you get that feedback in a band, playing with friends. So I think that's even if you think you're not ready to be in a band or play with friends, just do it anyway, because you'll soon figure out what it is about bass playing that you need to be good at. That's namely nothing too flashy. It's really timing and decent tone, and you really learn that getting that feedback in a band. Figure out bass lines by ear and listen to music often. Use your new skills to immerse yourself in the beauty of the art. I really, really do recommend that you learn to work out bass lines by ear, and then try to figure out what is going on in terms of, theory, rhythms, scales, all that kind of thing. That's really going to help you, probably more than anything else. That's my favourite way to practice, is just learning my favourite songs, or songs I have to learn for gigs often. And when I do that, I learn something every single time I do that. And that will really help your kind of connection with what I showed you before, the different categories of music, you will really start to piece together those connections the more you rely on yourself and your ears, and you can really improve that by listening to music, figuring bass lines out by ear. Finally, enjoy the journey. There are few things in life more pleasurable than music and working to master a craft. I don't know about you, but I still sometimes get a bit down on my playing or just a bit frustrated. And if you think about it, if you're like a professional sports person, you go in and you've got coaches for everything. And it's, in a way, if you can be that good, it's then easy because you've got all these people around you and their job is to make you better. For us, professional or not, we're on our own, really. We've got to try and get better with nothing more than our own sort of drive and spirit. And that can be really hard, actually. So try not to get too despondent if things aren't going well. You may miss a week of practice. Don't worry about it. Just get back on the horse as soon as you can. And just little tiny improvements can be made. I really recommend using a practice journal, because then you can sort of flick back and just see how far you've come, really. But I think if you're anything like me, you can be more negative than positive about your progress. But what I'm saying is just try to enjoy it. And the more you listen to music and the more you get better, you will enjoy it. You know, when you're at the beginning or your technique's not so good, it's not that enjoyable, to be honest. But there comes a point where you sort of get over that little hurdle there, where actually it starts to become a lot more fun. And really, it's just persistence to get to that point. Really, it's just keep going. But obviously, practice smart, make sure you're learning the right things, and then you're going to get there quicker. I hope those principles helped you really focus on this part of your musical life, because you can get anything you want if your discipline and your practice routine is sort of locked in. If you do have any questions, do let me know. Put a comment below and just, tell me now in the comments below. What are you struggling with? Are you, how's your practice going? Have you got any tips you can add to this? I like that we're sort of building a community here. If anyone else has got any tips for someone in the comments, just put it in below. I think that'd be really great, and we can just all help each other. Do subscribe to the channel if you got something from that. Otherwise, I hope to see you on the next video. Have a great day.